you know what? This is not fair.
What's not? We haven't even said anything yet. What could possibly not be fair?
Here's the thing. How many books did you read? You're going to pick a book of the month. How many books do you have to pick from?
Well, it depends. Do they have to be books that I finished?
Yeah, I guess so.
Then none. I didn't finish any books this month.
My.
Do you have books to pick for the first book, for the best book of the month?
I should make you pick.
How could I possibly? I'm barely even here. I'm here to say, hey, here's all the books I didn't finish. You go. That's my job.
You know, that is, I think, the new catchphrase of this channel. I'm barely even here. Welcome back to Talking Story. My name is John Minton. That right there is my literary wingman, the one son, the best producer on BookTube, the chull of happiness, little Jakey Two Swords.
4 titles. I like it. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
My name is Jacob.
So, can you believe another month from 2025 is come and gone?
No.
I'm crazy.
Can you believe that this is the month we're going to Worldcon?
Even crazier.
Far crazier.
Even
and then
crazier.
After that,
I'm excited.
We have Rockio's release, and it's just so many good months to come this year.
The rest of the year is going to be just tons of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have to wrap up July before we can throw ourselves into the fun of August.
We do.
The summer fun of August is waiting for us, but we have to wrap up everything we read in July and pick a favorite read of the month of July, apparently is going to be quite easy for you.
I can't pick any. Spoiler, I didn't finish any books this month, so there's not really a pick I can do.
Well, why don't you, get into what you're into? What have you started?
I will do that. So I continued trekking on through Janny Wertz's Ships of Merior. I mean, need it be said anymore that Janny Wertz is an actual living genius, that it just... This is her world, and we're living in it.
So you're still loving this series. How far are you in?
How far am I into the book?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the second book in the series, Ships of Merior. I think I'm about 175 pages in.
You're coming up on halfway.
Here's the problem.
You hit me with the problem. Can't be that book, because I read that book. It's outstanding.
No. The book is not a problem whatsoever. For those that watch Weekly Reader, you may already know this, so I'll keep it short. We're working on our book 2 right now for our series, Strange Eons. And I found myself in a situation where I was reading a lot of things that I wanted to read, but not necessarily the things that I needed to read to kind of refill my well, sharpen my axe, get some inspiration, whatever saying you want to use there. So I had to kind of sort of put Janny Wertz's book on pause. And, if I have a rough day, I'm going to pick it up just because it's comfort food. And I really love her writing in that series. It's just... Even though I put it on pause, it can't be said enough that you should go pick up Wars of Light and Shadow if you have not. It's incredible. So I opted to pick up some different things instead that would kind of help me with my own writing journey. So that would be why I didn't get too further.
You had to change your TBR a little bit.
Right, yeah.
Because you're trying to read some things, trying to look at some tools that you would want to put in your belt and use while you're writing, while you're working on certain sections here of book 2.
Yes.
Is what's going on with you.
That is correct. That being said...
Well, that's valid. That's totally valid.
I think so. It's working so far. I feel like
great.
the things... my confidence level with writing is getting boosted up because I'm actually, studying and paying attention to stuff.
As one of your writing partners, that's great to hear.
Thank you. That being said, I did do quite a bit of reading on the other book that I've been trekking through, which is Christopher Roccio's Demon in White, the third book in the Sun Eater series. I was reading it a little bit right before we hopped on. That's why I was kind of late to recording. I got sucked into it a little bit more. I
wondered what was going on.
Exactly 100 pages left. I'm very close to the end. There's a lot going on right now, man.
Things are amping up then. I know things are amping up.
Things are quite amped up. Yeah. Everybody loves Sun Eater. Christopher Roccio is a incredible writer, similar to Janny Wertz. These just feel like my goal at the beginning of the year was I want Wars of Light and Shadow in my life, and I want more Sun Eater in my life, because these are the two series that I just feel at home in. And they're both just fantastic. Thoroughly loving Demon in White and all the different flavors that are coming with it. It feels like, and I think you asked Christopher about this once, and he confirmed, like, the nice thing about sci-fi is that it spans space. You can kind of dip into whichever genres you want, and the genres that we dip into in Demon in White are almost a little... You said Raiders of the Lost Ark-ish, where, you know, a little more adventure, along with some action, of course, that everybody's come to know from Christopher Rucchio. Yeah.
A little cosmic horror, a little sci-fantasy, a little epic
political intrigue in there as well.
Oh, sure.
Very, very interesting first half of the book, and then it just feels like the second half is just a downhill roller coaster slide of fun. Absolutely loving my time with that. And it has an audiobook, so it's easier for me to kind of dedicate my time to it.
Yeah, you can fit that in the cracks.
Yeah,
a little bit easier. But you're still working on Ships of Merior. It's you know I think that's a word.
I haven't.
Is it fair to say that's a reward read for when you can pick up something? That's
right.
Just for
Yeah. If I'm having a rough day, I'm probably gonna pick that up, because it's just. Yeah. Even more so than Sun Eater, like, that's comfort food. The characters in that are just untouchable. Like, her character voice and journeys are just truly astounding, and it's something that I feel like I'll be looking up to for a long time. Of, wow, that's a talent to be able to do something like that.
No doubt, absolutely.
And I read a short story.
I think you read a couple, didn't you?
I read like a few pages of Blood Meridian, but I wasn't really going to count that. But I did read Sleepy by Anton Chekhov, which was, good God, fantastic. And good God, really dark.
Oh, yes.
Definitely
what you needed for what you're working on.
Absolutely. It was perfect. I felt like I had encountered something that's like, ooh, I don't know if I quite have the tools to be able to accomplish what I'm willing to accomplish here. And then I read Sleepy by Anton Chekhov, and I'm like, got it. That's exactly what I needed. That's the tool right there.
That's how you do that.
That's how you do that. And do it well. Anton Chekhov's just a master. Everyone knows that.
Don't expect to be Anton Chekhov. When you put pen to paper.
No. I was just looking for the tool. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I do blank? There it is. Yeah. I'll steal that real quick. Thank you, Anton. Yeah. But that is everything that I read this month.
Well, you know what? That's a pretty good. I here's the thing with the writing amping up and things like that. It's not a bad month, because I know you're crunched under a lot of other things.
Crunched under a lot of things, and I feel like in a way, like I said, I need to read the things that I need rather than the things that I want to read. And God knows how much I want to read Ships of Merior. But it's been far more rewarding to me in my day-to-day to read the things that I need to be reading. So I'm having a great time, doing very well.
Excellent. You know, my stack is a bit heftier.
I would imagine so. How many thousands upon thousands of pages did you get into this month?
Yeah, I didn't. You know what? I didn't add these up again.
How many times are we going to do this?
I think this is the third month. People have asked, "Hey, can you add up just for fun?" Like, I don't do that. I don't set goals of reading or add up pages or all that kind of stuff. I do what I do for the fun of it and the love of it, and I don't think about finish lines or things like that. So. It just doesn't enter my mind. So I forgot to do it again. So how many pages? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Well, that's too bad for all the people that were really wanting to know.
I hope no one's too upset.
Tell them how upset you are in the comments down below.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. You know, last month, a very, very loving, nice, kind person actually added it up for me afterwards.
Did they really? Oh, man. Making all the other people do the work.
I don't feel good about myself. Let's just put that out there. I don't. So, look, first off, we had our big conversation. I believe we had it on Nerd Level Rising, Jake's channel, for our crew to come together for our second One Piece discussion. So it went so amazing. Had so much fun hanging out with everybody, talking about new favorite characters and things that happened up to Volume 17. It made me immediately pick up volume 18 of One Piece. So, I in and amongst between the books and between the things that I had on my list and I wanted to get done, I got some fun stuff. And this for me, it's so fun. It's so irreverent. It's so if you've had kind of a bad day, you can come home, you can grab a little One Piece, and you're going to find yourself smiling. And then a few pages later, you might find yourself just being hit emotionally, and then you might find yourself being hit with a little bit of a head scratching things, because there's some very interesting thematic work going on, some deep themes, some deep emotions with some of these backstories and found family as they're growing deeper and deeper relationships with each other. And I really feel like getting into the Alabasta arc that we're getting into here, we're really starting to get into, it's really starting to open up. Since we've crossed that grand line and since we've got into the real breadth and scope of the story, it's really starting to open up in that epic fantasy way. So if you're an epic fantasy reader and you love that kind of stuff and you want a little bit of a different jolt for some different type of storytelling, I am a huge comic fan, but I have never done manga. I never got into it. And there's absolutely a difference in the pacing, in the art style, culturally, that has been just so challenging for me in a way to kind of get comfortable with it and on board with it. And at the same time, so refreshing and so interesting to see sequential picture storytelling done in a different way with a different cultural background. And I'm just full steam ahead, having the greatest time with my crew. And after that discussion, I had to squeeze in a volume in between the other books and things that I had got done. And Alabasta arc, I think it's getting its... I really think it could be my fave so far. I really think I'm really enjoying it. It's not going to be long at all before I grab volume 19, because I wanted to grab it immediately and get right back into it. But, other things.
It seems like every time you get further into One Piece, it's like, oh, this is my favorite. Oh, this is my favorite. Oh, this is my favorite. Like, it just constantly hits you with something new. And
I do think that happens because the world just keeps getting larger and these relationships just keep getting deeper. And I do think that absolutely, and things that you don't even realize these seeds he's laying start to pay off in ways that you didn't see coming, which is always so fun. But I think one of the things that is like that for me is I'm becoming more comfortable with the material. The more time I spend with it, and the longer I spend time with the crew that I'm with, and we have these discussions, and share those discussions with us if you didn't hit Nerd Level Rising for this last one. It was just the most fun.
Yeah. Is it up yet, or does it come out on
I believe
Saturday?
It's up. It's the same day this comes up.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, absolutely. Check out Nerd Level Rising in the description. He'll have it there.
Yeah. So check that out. So I think part of it is me as I become more comfortable with material and more immersed in the material and all in on what's going on. I think some of it is me, and some of it is the story just continues to become more and more broader in scope and funner and in payoff as you go along, and all these little things start coming back around that you didn't even realize were seeds to begin with.
See, that's why I can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah, you definitely did. I once you wrap up Merior, I think this is something like when you have a day and you want to have a little bit of fun or something, this could really be something for you that you could grab and really, really find a smile coming back on your face.
Yeah, maybe soon I'll have to pick up all the next volumes from you.
Well, soon I will be done with this first box set, and I'll pass that over to you, and you will have the big chunk there with you. So whenever you want to grab it, it'll be there for you.
Lovely. I'll stick it right there on the floor and not get a new shelf.
Go crazy. Get a new shelf.
So much money.
That's true. And in between other things, I have loved American comics. I have loved comics since I was, forever I've loved comics. So it's been a while. And in between reads, I picked up God Country. This is by Cates and Shaw. This is an Image comic. And I picked this up. Zack Attack had sent this to me, said he heard it was one of the better comics of the past few years going back. And he read it, really enjoyed it, thought I would really enjoy it because he knows how the dad stuff speaks to me.
It does. It gets you crying every time, I think.
Yeah. So this was so much fun. Not only did I get to, talk about comfort food, not only did I get to grab a comic in between some other reads, but it was something that it was fun because it was, it's not old home week for me. It's not the DC heroes or some Marvel heroes that I know really, really well. This is all new characters in a whole new situation, and it's just fresh and interesting, and I didn't know what was around the corner, and I just enjoyed it so much. And I think that when we talked about it on Weekly Reader, someone said, I think that's the best way to kind of sum up God Country and describe it, was what I said was, it doesn't matter if you're an aging patriarch on the Texas plains trying to fight off this vicious disease of Alzheimer and try and stay relevant and try and keep the memories of your family and your life and try and dig your claws into that and keep it as long as possible. Or if you're the patriarch of this cosmic pantheon that is, again, you're trying to claw relevance and claw survival as the entire Mount Olympus area of your pantheon is sucked into a black hole. It doesn't matter where you come from. Fathers and sons are going to have some interesting issues and some issues that are just ripe for storytelling and hit you right here. And this is one of those things where there was just huge set piece duels and battles and cosmic happenings going on. And then the next page would just be a truly intimate moment with a dad or his daughter or a granddad and his granddaughter, and just kind of it just downshifted in a way to where it just hits you right in the chest. And I had never read anything by Cates. I was really, really impressed with this. The way we go from brash and bold and then downshift into very, very subtle and intimate in the storytelling. I had a great time. It was so fun to be reading a comic again. It had been too long, and it was extra fun because it was something I had no idea or what was coming around the corner. Just really, really enjoyed this one.
Lovely. Oh, it's been a while since you really got back into comics. That's a nice one to pick back up.
I had so much fun. It was such a blast. And it's like, I got to do more of it. I got to try and grab some comics in between here and there because it's such a great palate cleanser. Sometimes you want to do a short story. Sometimes you just want to jump into the next grand adventure. Sometimes you just want to slow down and maybe watch a movie or something. But comics are just, sometimes they're exactly what I need to just take that etch-a-sketch of my old man brain, turn it upside down, give it a couple good shakes before I move on to the next big book.
Yeah. I feel like One Piece kind of helps with that as well. That's another good one for that.
It's a great sorbet, great story sorbet, great palate cleanser in between. So those were the kind of things I did in between some of the other bigger reads. So let's get into some of the other bigger reads. You ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. I finally picked up and started Ronald Malfi. This is an author I've been hearing from Mike talk about him. He's doing like one a month to catch up on everything Ronald Malfi has read. That's how much it's hitting Mike, how much Mike's loving it. So it's like, oh man, I'm a horror lover from all the way back. We started this channel to kind of catch up on epic fantasy and some other things because I've been reading horror for so many decades. But come on, I wanted some old home week. I wanted some horror. I wanted to get in on the fun. So I started with Blackmouth by Ronald Malfi, and it was so good, dude. It was so good. Kind of some shades of It from Stephen King. Ooh. Very, very interesting coming of age storylines. Very interesting confluence of people later on in life having to come back to the scene of the crime or the scene of the happening when they were young, what happened. But I'm not going to say it's a carbon copy. I'm not going to say, probably highly inspired, but highly inspired of so many other things that it definitely has its own fresh voice. And how does it have its own fresh voice? Because of the villain here. the villain, the baddie here, the big baddie here, I just absolutely thought was top notch, and I liked so much. And then as you get deeper into it, you see it's not just a thing; it's a whole. Maybe I don't want to give too much away, but when you pierce the veil, it's not just one single baddie. It can be a whole broad spectrum, a whole different reality, and that just speaks to me on that cosmic horror level that I love so much. As these characters that have gone on with their life feel themselves pulled back, he does, and by I say he, I mean Ronald Malfi, does such an amazing job of pulling the horror and putting the hooks in you by mining the personal trauma of each and every one of these characters. What they experienced as youngins, and then they went on in their older life, and the trauma didn't stop. It festered and it grew, and it pushed their lives in one way or another. And now as they're all being called back, how have they fared by being pushed and pulled by that trauma? Some are going to want to come back more than others. Some have handled it a little bit better. Some have found a more appropriate way to handle it. Some are just a mess. And when they come together, the stew they form when they get back together is just magic. Absolute magic. And there is that kind of fine, tight wire rope that Ronald Malfi walks as far as, is this completely supernatural? Are we going to have some realistic wrap-ups here? Or is this way further fetched than we thought? What exactly is going on? And he does that little dance on the head of a pin just long enough to keep you wondering and keep you hoping, depending on what kind of reader you are, if it's one way or another. And then the payoffs are all just so well done. I was completely satisfied in so many ways, so much so that I already started looking at what Ronald Malfi book I could pick up and start next, because this one hit just right. If you like horror, if you like coming of age, if you like someone not afraid to turn away from the human experience and the trauma it can bring to all of us, and you like your character journey propelled by that trauma and overcoming that trauma, you like a nice emotional core as these characters are coming back together, you believe that there could certainly be magic in the world if you just look under the right rock. And if you look under the wrong rock, you could go on a journey that could change you forever and the world around you. If all of those things kind of speak to you and make you wonder, hey, that sounds kind of cool, I could not recommend Blackmouth enough. It was so much fun for an old horror reader that hadn't picked up a horror in a little bit too long, I think. Brand new author for me. Will not be the last book I pick up of Ronald Malfi, though. That is 100% for sure.
So you started the month with hardcore
That was
horror.
my book one.
Okay. Jeez, man, starting off strong. So up for book of the month?
Crazy strong.
Did you say?
Here's the thing. This, a lot of times, would be up for book of the month. You know how I love my horror. You know how I love my horror when it's wrapped around human trauma and all the things I talked about here. This is how strong the month was.
But you had a great month.
This is how unbelievable strong the month was. Normally, this would be up there. If I were making a list of fave horror reads of the year, no doubt this is top. Probably top of that list.
Sure. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. What else you got then? I want to know.
Hey, what do we do once a month here? We grab a self-published indie book.
Yes, we do. Well, yes, you do.
Yes, I do. And this month, it was The Mortal Night by Michael Cronk, our very own BookTube's Cronk the Book Guy. This is book 2 of his I planned out to possibly 12 books. And the first 3 he brought out. This is book 2 of the 3 that are out in a series called Immortal Investigations. And if you love Dresden, if you love urban fantasy, if you love that vibe of, oh my gosh, there's an entire history, an entire world that we know nothing about, but is just hidden around the corner. And if we could just peel back the curtain just a little bit, what we saw, what's really out there, how the world really works, would be astonishing and shocking and horrific at times. If that's the kind of thing that you dig, if all these myths and legends you've heard about, you would like to see a world where they kind of exist, but maybe with a little bit of topspin. If you like the story of people coming into their own and finding out who they are, dealing with some of their past trauma as well, finding out that direction for themselves in their young life, becoming their own person. If you like that type of journey, this could absolutely be a series for you. If you like Dresden, if you like Kevin Hearn, if you like, I mean, the list goes on and on and on for urban fantasy. And I absolutely am a huge urban fantasy fan. Sandman Slim by Richard Cadre, on and on and on, these types of series. So I was so excited to pick up, and I read book 1, Immortal Investigations, and I knew I had to pick up book 2 again. Why? Some of my faves here. We got vampires. You know how I am about vampires.
Yes, I do. Always a win for John.
Always a win for me when they're done right. And these are done a little bit differently. Definitely differently, with a long storied history that goes back into the folklore, mythologies, and everything about how this world was brought about and created all the way back to that level. Think about Adam and Eve, all the way back to that level. The vampire myth is wrapped around that here in this series, which I just find so interesting. Again, these truths, this way to look at the world has been hidden, but now for Jason, it's starting to get unearthed. And Jason is pulled out of his comfort zone on his journey to be his own type of man, a detective that he wants. That's his dream. He wants to become a detective. And he finds and falls in love with Sylvana. And now that love in book 2 here becomes deeper to where I would actually say this series is becoming less of Jason's journey and more of the power couple journey that is Jason and Sylvana, which I absolutely loved. And the other thing I so admired Michael as a writer on this is he did everything that you and I talk about doing with our book too, and Mom as well, when we sit around and talk about how we have to raise the stakes, how we have to turn everything up to 11. He completely does this. So many shoes that drop, so many characters that you think you know and understand now from book 1. Don't be comfortable, because some things are coming that will shake things up and raise the stakes immediately. Where we started in book 1 with just, hey, chaperone on a simple date, my friend, to book 2, join me at a very swanky party filled with nothing but immortals. So just look at the starting point of book 1 to book 2, and some of the most epic wizard throwdowns are here. Great reveals are here. Characters that you thought you knew, forget it. You don't know, but you want to so badly because of these shoes that drop and because of the expectations and the stakes that get raised with book 2. Enjoyed it so much, I will be picking up book 3 in August. I got to do all 3 that are out. I can't put it aside and get to some other authors. I like to spread the love around as much as I can with my indie reads. I just can't do it. I'm just all in on this series. With the 3 books that are out, I've got to pick up A King in Waiting, which is book 3 in the month of August. So if you missed the TBR, that is on there because of how much I enjoyed book 2, Immortal Night.
And for those that don't know, we always put indie books in the description. So go ahead and go down there. Also subscribe to Cronk the Book Guy. He's down there. But pick up Cronk's books. Immortal Investigations and Immortal Night.
But yeah, why don't we put the first book, Immortal Investigations, there, and book 2, and we put all 3 down there that are available. We'll link them all down there.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you like urban fantasy, if you like vampire lore, if you like alternate history, if you like a bit of a love story and you want to be all in on a power couple, God, this is a series for you, no doubt.
Also, really quickly, everyone knows the Amazon algorithm doesn't exactly benefit indie authors. So if you read his books, go ahead and review them. Hit
him up with a review. Let him know
very
what
helpful
you thought.
with the Amazon algorithm.
Absolutely. Goodreads, Amazon.
Yeah.
Help to get the word out there. That's what self-published indie authors absolutely need.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent pickup there, wingman.
That's why I sit here and listen to you talk. Every once in a while, I got something cool to say.
Yeah, you grab all the things I missed. Right after that, we're loving our buddy read right now.
Yes, I do.
With Josh at Red. Every year, me and Josh set a goal. What are we going to read together this year? We got one a year. So this year it was Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. And since it's Long Price Quartet, the Long Price Prophet had to jump in and join us. I'm talking about Alan from the Library of Allenxandria. We just had our second discussion about book 2, which is A Betrayal in Winter, over there on Josh's channel. So check that out. I think the first 2 discussions were on Josh's channel. And then I think book 3 is Alan. Book 4 will be right here. But I had such a great time with book 1. So book 2, Betrayal in Winter, was very close to the beginning of the month because I had to get right back to it. And what can I tell you? This will be like my number 1 read in August. That's how much this series is hitting me. This series is special. I think this series is going to crack my top 10 list when I have to redo it next year. What Daniel Abraham has done here, he's taken an Asian-inspired fantasy world, and he's made it so tangible, so concrete and real that you just feel, you can feel the street under your feet. You can smell the people selling lunch on the side of that street. You can hear the sounds of the kid playing on that street. You can feel the trauma and the angst of these characters as they go through what they're going through on every level. And it's amazing that he does this because I get it. I get why this is not, it should be so much more popular, but I can get why it's not, because oftentimes like How Much I Love This, we had wizard throwdowns galore. We had huge set pieces. We had huge battles. We had all these fireworks. In book 2 here, Betrayal in Winter, we have scene after scene after scene of people talking. They are pushed to the very limit of what they can deal with. They are pushed to the very limits motivationally of what they want to achieve in this world, and the world will be absolutely stacked against them because character after character after character is constrained by this society and put in roles that are accepted and roles of servitude to one level or another. So they are pushed to their limit. They have motivations to try and break out. And what do? They have moments in time. They have scene after scene after scene of them talking to each other, and the drama crackles and lifts right off the page. There's never a duel. There's never a huge battle. There's never a climactic set piece building up to at the end. It's just one character pushed to their limit, dealing with another and living in this world. Are the stakes high? Absolutely. The stakes are so that this after book 1 and book 2, the stakes are unbelievably high. But again, it's a tangible, it's a reality, it's a concrete world where this beautiful magic system is used to corner different levels of commerce in these different city states. So even though these stakes are catastrophic, the everyday day-to-day of how they're being used and what's happening with them is completely believable and completely realistic. So you're not asking these characters to be lifted up into something where you're going to see scene work where, I don't know if I would react that way. That's just out of my wheelhouse. I've never had to deal with that. I don't know. These are over and over again dealing with real life situations, real life motivations that are in direct conflict with the other characters. And it strikes you just right here because they're real scene after scene after scene. It is absolutely Shakespearean. The character I love so much in book 2, Idon, is it has a Lady Macbeth turn that I have not seen in epic fantasy in, a good while. Shauna Lawless gets close, but I think I like this one even a little bit better. I cannot wait to go forward. Autumn Wars book 3. It's what I'm going to start my August with. This, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to have to crack my top 10 list. Just no ways around it. And to get to read it with those guys is just the best.
So I assume heavy contention for book of the month on that one.
No way it's not in contention. No way.
Has to be.
It has to be.
And yet there's more.
But look what came up next. A little guy named Joey A.
Oh, boy.
A little guy named Joe Abercrombie had something to say. I continued on with the standalones in the First Law world. I was up to the Heroes by Joe Abercrombie, and come on, this did not disappoint. You go in wanting a couple certain things with Joe Abercrombie. You want some dialogue, you want some humor, you want some authoritative narrative voice that makes you just go, dang, Joey A, where do you get it from? That's awesome. That's hysterical. And then within the next paragraph, that same character can wax philosophical and poetic in a way that makes you go, wow. The character voice never changes. It stays true. Each character has their own way of speaking and thinking and talking, and he never mashes it out of shape or puts a round peg into a square hole when he goes from the irreverent to the profound. These people, you know them to their core because of the way they speak and the way they act and the way they are. So when they start to sum up the world they live in a profound nature, it just rings so true. So whether they're around a campfire giving each other a hard time or waxing poetic about the way the universe works, this authoritative narrative voice that Joe Abercrombie has is the best in the biz. It's exactly what I pick up a book for, and I absolutely got a pure dose of it here in The Heroes. The Heroes is that, I feel like as an author, he has a goal for himself every time he puts pen to paper. And this one, it was, I want to write a war story. I want to show the cost of conflict on both sides. On both sides. Oftentimes a war story will feel like, oh, you got a brand of brothers, they're up against it in every way possible, and they have to overcome, and you can't help but root for them to get up and over that objective and obtain it by the end, and hopefully stay on this side of the Grim Reaper's sky, trying to go after everybody on the battlefield. This was entirely, totally different. We spend as much time with characters on one side as the other. And Joe Abercrombie's camera here is entirely, completely fluid. It goes from one to the other, to the other, to the other, and no side gets any short shift. All you get here is the futility of this conflict. The question of why they're all here. From the generals all the way down to the foot soldiers, from leadership that may be just a favor to someone is why they're there and they're not really who should be there, all the way down to the people who are interpreting those orders and trying to keep the ones around them alive because those orders are not the best. You get that look on both sides of this conflict, and you find your favorites on both sides of this by the end of this, favorite characters, Warren of Bly, Red Beck, you've got characters that are just going to live with you forever because you've been through the hardest times with them. Did they make it or not? Can't say, no spoilers here, but you got characters that will just live with you forever. And this story of conflict and combat and the cost thereof, just done so beautifully to illuminate the futility of that. And if I had any problem with it at all, it would be, as he's illustrating the futility on both sides, there wasn't that push of pace for me rooting for that band of brothers the way war stories usually work, because you're on both sides. So it didn't have that narrative push of pace rooting for one of the sides over the other, which is the way I've always seen a war story done. But another thing that you pick up a Joe Abercrombie book for is a bit of subversion. So he does it different. He does it his own way. He sets out a goal. I want to write a war story. I want to write it the Joe Abercrombie way. And he absolutely did. And I can't wait to see how the ripples of this conflict move outward and forward, because I hear they absolutely do as we go forward in the First Law world. So it was wonderful to see some characters show back up again that I didn't think we were going to get to see here. It was wonderful to hear about some characters I didn't know if we were going to get to hear about, and it was amazing to meet some new ones. Great to see again. Great to see again. Great. It was so awesome to see some of these characters again and meet the new ones. It was great. It was great. I had a great time with it.
So, up for Book of the Month?
Being this month this strong, I can't because of that little narrative pace situation I had. It's not in contention because of how strong
that must
the
be
month
a strong month. If just that little thing is,
and just that little thing. Because let's look at what's. You know what? Before let's look at what's next. Maybe we should thank some people.
Always people to thank. Have to.
Always people to thank. These are our amazing folks. They're right down there in the description box. These are our amazing patrons on Patreon. They keep the lights on. They keep things going. They make the hard decisions. They even take over our channel when we do Town Square and flip the camera around and let them take over. They do so many things. Run our book club over and over again. And I'm talking about our correspondents, directors, and producers. Big thank you to all of them.
Thanks, everybody.
Just a quick break in the action to thank all of our correspondents, directors, and producers on Patreon. These people keep the lights on. They make decisions for us because we don't know what we're doing. We're not great at making the decisions around here. The decisions all the way from what I'm going to read next, what the book club of the month Patreon pick is going to be, but all the way up to video ideas and what we're going to do here on the channel coming up for you. If you're interested or you want to find out how you can be a part of this, right down there in the description box, click the Patreon link. It's got all the answers for you. And once again, thank you to all of these fine people that are helping us build the channel, our correspondents, directors, and producers. I wanted to thank them right there because the next book was the book club pick of this month.
This one has to be a book of the month. I know this.
It was the Patreon pick, and did they ever knock it out of the park? You talk about, maybe one little thing, a little bit of a pace situation for you on this, which could have absolutely been book of the month on any number of other months. But when you deal with Cormac McCarthy, when you deal with an absolute master, and the Patreon book club read was All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. Come on. This wrecked me.
Really?
This wrecked me in such a personal way. Coming from Texas, coming from Bexar County, where some of this takes place.
Takes place in Bexar County?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Having deep familial roots that come from that part of the world, and having a father that was very much a part of that oratory, storytelling history of that area, and campfire stories and things like that. What this did to me was it just absolutely wrecked me on a personal level. Looking at it otherwise, he does so many things here. Just time after time of this story about this young man who's trying to find himself and find out how he fits in this rugged land and world and how it needs to be tamed for him to make his way in it, and how his family may not be at this point in time able to help him, or maybe even in his way, and the things he has to do that he feels he has to do for himself to find his own way. And then from there, that journey he takes in that enlightened coming of age journey to find out who he truly is. Just page after page after page of dialogue where it's not necessarily what's said, it's what's not said. He writes the silences between these characters. He understands the poetry of this brutal, rugged landscape like no one else I've read. He understands the attachment to that land that these characters have and what they'll do to stay there and to make their way there, when possibly their journey would be so much easier if they went a different direction. These characters are just completely real to me. What he does with reality and reflection and art and artifice and the coming of age story against this backdrop, and first love and true love, and overcoming obstacles that you never saw coming in your way, but you can't get out of their way because of the moral core that you yourself have. It's just an exploration of the type of character that lives in that world and would live in no other world. And it's done so beautifully and so remarkably real. I loved it on every level, personal, professional, just as an audience member. There were just so many turns of things that make you have to go back and look at that again as this landscape unspools into the heavens and you broaden the camera of this canvas that these characters are working on. He does it in such a beautiful, insightful, realistic way for everyone that's ever been or come from or understood that area and what it means to come from there and the people you meet there. Just loved it on every level. Just loved it.
Did you cry? That's a yes.
There were
already.
I'm not going to say it was an ugly cry, but I got a little misty. Yeah. I got a little misty strictly because of some of the memories of my own that it brought up. There's a moment, and I will not spoil it, but there's a moment in here that absolutely, that line will live with me forever because it's so true to my experience.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It defines my experience and who I am in it in one sentence. And the tragedy of that one sentence. And he in one sentence, he did that to me. And I cannot, coming up, we're going to have our book club night and talk about this. I cannot wait to talk with everyone about it. It's going to be phenomenal. And the read was phenomenal. And no way this is not up for book of the month. And no way I'm not reading more Cormac McCarthy. I've read The Road and I've read All the Pretty Horses. I think I might like to continue with this trilogy, even though I know they're not really linked. They're loosely linked, and I believe the next book is The Crossing. So trilogy. I think I do want to. I do want to continue with that. Yeah, I believe it's called the Border Trilogy.
Huh. Okay.
So tough. Going to be that's.
Yeah, I know that one's up for book of the month.
No question.
I think the next one is too.
Well, come on. Every time you're going to dip your toes in the wars of light and shadow, talk about a series that's already on my top 10 list, and I think going to do nothing but go up every time I read one of these books. Now, so far, up to Fugitive Prince by Janny Wirtz, which is book 3 or 4, depending on the editions you're grabbing to read your way through this. I had liked, that's my new favorite. Curse of the Mystery, favorite. Ships of Merior, new favorite. Warhost of Vastmark, new favorite. Fugitive Prince, I still say Warhost of Vastmark is my favorite.
I mean, I think that's, as you get further in the series, it's fair to have those opinions. You can't just keep stacking the deck higher and higher and higher, you know?
Here's, and I know that Janny Wirtz has put this together in arcs, and Fugitive Prince is the ground floor of a next big arc. I believe 3 or 4 books left to go in the arc. And so this is ground floor. Now, so many seeds being laid, and characters that, even though you think, that's just, they're just there on the around the boundaries here of what's happening. I can almost promise you, I'm making sure I notice everyone, because all of these things are going to come around and pay off, and they're methodically there for a reason, because this architect of story, when she lays a ground floor, she is going to create some type of Jenga tower where every thread she lays out is going to pay off, and I know this. So I'm sure when I get further down the road into the arc, when these threads start coming together and the sky pulls them together and they pay off, I absolutely may get a new favorite. But I'm sticking with the fireworks I felt from Warhost of Vastmark by the end a little bit here. But what can I say here? What can I say about this entry into the Wars of Light and Shadow? I love that right when it starts off, I feel like I'm getting to go a little bit further with these characters, Lysair and Erathon. I'm getting a little bit farther along in their journey with them. And they, like I, am changed by the journey so far. They're very different. They're carrying weight. You've seen them lay this grief and trauma and tragedy brick by brick as they've taken this journey and you've taken it with them. So there's a grief about them, there's a weight about them, there's a gravitas about them now as we're at Fugitive Prince that they didn't possess earlier on. They're becoming mythic archetypes of story as we move on. They're from young men thrust into a tragedy. They're now becoming something so much more and deeper to me as I've taken this journey with them. And they're written different. It's not the same. They're on a different place. I love starting this book and seeing and having that old home week feeling of catching up with the characters. And at the same time, seeing the journey we've taken has made them into different people. So satisfying, so fulfilling. And then as we go on and we start to see the groundwork laid here for this next big thing, we start to see, again, another beautiful thing about this series is mysteries unraveled of this world as the world expands. We start to see, we start to have mystery answered of this group of enchantresses, this group of 7 wizards. What is it they truly believe? Why they're doing the machinations they're doing? Why are they not quite seeing eye to eye? Where have they come from? What do they want for this world? What are they willing to do to get what they want for this world? What are the prices they've paid on this journey so far to try and get what they want? All of those things start to come to the light here. So we start to get a little bit of more answers here. We start to get a little bit more answers of this world. And in those, I will say, and I can't give too much away because, again, no spoilers on a wrap-up, but there's a moment in this book. There's a moment in this book that is not only my favorite of the series, but there's a moment in this book that it handles a mythic, I don't want to give too much away, a mythic thing that we have in this genre that we all know and love. It handles it in a way that is so fresh and so different and so beautiful and so earth-shattering. It's my favorite of all of the epic fantasy up to this point of handling that. And that's all I can say, of handling that.
Really?
And I can't wait to get more of that.
I know what it is because you and I talked about it at one point, but I didn't know it was your favorite.
And you told me
handling.
you wanted to know.
I did tell you I wanted to know. Yeah. Because I know I'll forget it by the time I get there. But
that is how you roll.
I didn't know it was your favorite in all of epic fantasy way to handle that. That's high praise, man.
The way to handle that thing, that's
so that's
and there's one other writer, and I love the way they handled it too. And I can't say I love the way Wirtz and handled it because then people would start to understand and know. Yeah. And I want everyone to go in completely as blind as they possibly can.
Yeah.
But it was just, it was one of those moments of like, that's why I read this genre. When there's something like that smacks like that. That scene was, so good. And just so happened, like I told you at the Weekly Reader, that during that scene, Janny had reached out to me in a DM, and I was DMing her back and forth as I was reading it.
Yeah.
So it was just, I'm telling you, so special the way she did. I cannot wait to talk with everyone in August because we are doing a book every other month, and then we're meeting every other month to talk about the book that we've read. So the whole group will be coming together and talking about Fugitive Prince in August. And I cannot wait to spend time with all of them and go over all this when we get to the spoiler section and just let fly with our thoughts because there are going to be some thoughts.
So cool.
Yeah.
I assume that's up for Book of the Month.
Absolutely.
So it looks like you got one left.
This was my stack for August.
Oh, is that? Oh, so you had extra time.
I had time to grab an extra, and I grabbed, you know what, sometimes when I have time, I like to grab something that just came out this year to try and stay a little current, but sometimes I like to grab, that's one of my faves from way back, and I was able to do that with Anima Rising by Christopher Moore. I've enjoyed Christopher Moore for so long, and he had a new book come out, and this is, wow, what can I tell you? It's not my favorite. It's not one of my favorite Christopher Moore books.
Really?
This is how good this dude is. If I'm looking favorite, I'm looking Lamb of God. I'm looking Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove. I'm looking Dirty Job. I'm looking. There's a lot of favorites I have because he does a certain thing so well, and he did it again. Had so much fun with this. I'm gonna get a big blender here for you, and I'm gonna start throwing stuff in, and then we're gonna hit the button and frappe this thing like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
Let's think about a reworking and a sequel to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I'm with you.
Okay. Now, let's think about a time, early 19th century in Vienna, when this is like actually a cauldron of genius. Gustav Klimt and Egon Schiele and artists, unbelievable artists, unbelievable. Mahler is writing music, and there's architects, and there's new design going on, and there's and psychoanalysis is being created by Sigmund Freud, and he's corresponding back and forth in Switzerland with Carl Jung, and psychoanalysis is being. All these things are happening. Hitler's walking the streets, pissed off because he didn't get into art school. Like, take this setting, this seething cauldron of artistic genius in Vienna. Let's throw that in the blender with these historical figures of Gustav Klimt and Egon Schiele and Mahler and their contemporaries and Freud and Jung. Let's throw all that in there. Okay. Now,
there's more.
let's. Why don't we just grab some metaphysics from the Inuit culture, like from the far north, where Frankenstein ended up there in Antarctica.
Right.
No spoilers. Frankenstein's been out long enough for me to say it ends in Antarctica.
Been a few years, yeah.
Let's grab that pantheon that exists up there so we can get some metaphysics into this. So we can really blow the mind of what makes us human on this realm and beyond. Let's throw that in there. Now, let's put in some absolutely laugh out loud, irreverent, snappy dialogue that Christopher Moore always does. Let's put that in there because if you're not going to laugh, it's not a journey worth taking if it's Christopher Moore. Let's throw that in there. And then he's going to downshift to the profound before it ends. So let's stop and think by the end and look at a treatise of how men see beauty and how men see beauty in the female form and how they want to possess it and capture it and how that can lead to some truly, truly dark, traumatic, horrible thoughts. It's because we got to have some conflict for a book. So let's look at the female characters having to overcome that in literature and in art at this time. Let's throw all that in there. Let's hit frappe and see what comes out. How can you possibly pigeonhole that into one genre? That is what Christopher Moore does over and over and over and over again with these books. And by the time you end, you go, how did that work? How did that possibly work? And yet it does. You're left loving these characters. You're left wanting more. You're left scratching your head from the things that he posits as far as philosophy and metaphysics go. You're left looking at the world around you in maybe a little bit of a different way, maybe a darker way when you start to look at these art pieces and you understand where some of these savage ideas come from these people that want to possess and capture beauty in that way, and what those female characters had to overcome in that time, in that place. All of these things you're left with when you close this not even huge book that I was able to squeeze in at the end of the month. Truly something. And it's peppered with Gustav Klimt's amazing artwork all the way through, just to give you some ideas of what was going on. Yeah. So you just get illustrations and things of what was going on at that time, at that place, with these characters. And I'm telling you, he's a magician. He's a magician with a magic blender, and he whips all this stuff up, and he serves you a smoothie that you didn't even know you ever wanted, but all you can do is want the next one.
What a sell, man. That I want to pick up that one.
You would dig this one.
I bet I would. Yeah. So that leaves you with, I believe, 4 contenders for Book of the Month.
I'm going to say now, this wasn't one of my all-time fave Christopher Moore.
Okay. So
I know the magic he can do because it's not one of my all-time faves. I'm going to say what we got here is we got Fugitive Prince.
Right. All the Pretty Horses.
We got All the Pretty Horses. And we got Betrayal and Winter. These are what I would say is up.
Okay. Now, what
for Book of the Month?
What are your thoughts? Do you have one picked already? I
didn't bring a tie up here because it's, you know what? As much as I love these, it's not even close. It's got to be All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy.
So. Yeah.
And look, the reason I got to be completely candid and honest with you. While I was reading this, I had some conversations with my dad that I hadn't had in so long.
Really?
And it was beautiful and it was personal, and it was moving and emotional for me, and just this was done in a way that took me home. I didn't even know I wanted to go there, and I'm not talking about geography. I'm talking about something entirely different, and I know some people know what I mean. And this took me there. It took me home. It was just special.
Yeah.
So, Book of the Month, Cormac McCarthy, All the Pretty Horses. Final answer.
Well done,
sir.
Well done to you. Well done to Cormac.
Yeah, well, that's just what he does.
God knows the guy's waiting for praise. He doesn't get enough of it.
He's waiting for nothing anymore. He's at that big campfire in the sky, spinning yarns with the best. So, what a month, man! What a month! What an amazing month.
I feel like the past couple months have been like that for you, where it's just like, oh man, these so many books that are just all-timers.
I'm in
almost.
I'll tell you, this is, and we say it every time here on BookTube. The folks you get to hang out with, the buddy reads you get to be a part of, and the conversations you get to have.
The books that get picked for you that you may not have picked up. The books that get
picked for us. The books that once you get in these buddy reads, you're just, oh sure, I'll do that with you. I'll pick that book up.
Yeah.
Just month after month, man, my hair is blown back. My hair is blown back by these stories and what they say and how they say it and what they do to me.
It really changes you. It makes your day-to-day different. It does.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely 100%. Yeah. How was your day-to-day different through story? What was your book of the month? What hit you? What took you home in that way? Your own personal home, and only you know what I mean there. What took you there, if anything did, this month? Hit us up in comments. Let us know. We're going to answer each and one of them because that's the whole reason we're here, is to talk to you back and forth about books, the kind of books that we love. Hit that like button. I know you don't even think about it, but that makes us go a little bit further. Makes us meet new people. Every new person that joins us here, that's a new singular interpretation of these stories that they can share with us, and each one of those sharings makes us all richer. And that's what we're about here, is to talk about story and how it moves us and changes us in those kind of ways. And if you're just here to see what we got up to this month, you hadn't been here before, maybe been here a time or two, and you hadn't hit that subscription button, guys, I'm telling you, this group, these folks we get to hang out with again and again and talk about these things. Woo, special. They're going to make the special things happen for you too when you hit that subscription button. So special, it's going to give you a tingle, and that's just a scientific fact. So I think that's it for us, man. That's a lot for a month.
I do believe it is. That's a long, everything we read this month video. That's a long one.
Yeah. Well, we read a lot.
You read a lot.
Yeah, you didn't.
No.
You did a lot. You had a busy month.
I technically read a lot. I just didn't happen to finish anything. Which was to be expected per the schedule anyway.
You know, so when you think about where you came from, you did great.
Oh, God, man. When I think about where I was a year ago, it's not even, it doesn't even compare. It's not
even compare. That's what I love. That's what you take stock in.
To
where
even
you
have
are
the thought that I had today, was just like, oh, man, I got 100 pages left of this. I'll finish that. Maybe, I don't know, tomorrow or the day after, like that.
Yeah.
That's a different Jacob. That's not the same.
No, that's a totally different Jacob.
Yes,
that's a totally different Jacob. Yeah. So, if this isn't enough shenanigans, check down there. We're all over the place. Check us out. All of the, did we even go on so long? I might have already said this. I don't know.
I think you did, actually.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Just cut me. I'm going to say goodnight because my kid's going to cut all this that I'm saying.
Everything except for that one bit right there, just so it's really confusing.
That's it. I'm hitting the button because he has too much power.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.